My name is Kjetil, Lima Bravo 4 Foxtrot Hotel, and in today's video I'm gonna show you how to dress up for your winter SOTA and POTA activations. If you've seen any of my videos, you've seen that I operate here in Western Norway. The climate can be really harsh and extreme, and today it's nice and calm, but it's cold, it's wintry, and it's getting colder. So I would like to show you how I keep nice, warm, comfortable, and safe on my operations. This is gonna be a two-part video. In the next one, I'm gonna show you how I prepare for things going bad, what extra equipment I bring in winter, how to stay warm, how to stay safe, and everything that's different from summer activations. I hope these will be two important and nice videos for you, a bit off the topic for what I normally do. So without further ado, here's how I dress. You can ask yourself, like, who are you to tell me how to dress? I've been a scout for a lot of my life. I've been a scout leader. We've done a lot of training on how to be safe and comfortable while being outdoors. And I also do a lot of wintry activations, both just short day trips or overnight trips. So there's a lot to learn here, and I thought I should show you some of the basics. One critical concept in dressing for winter is layering, meaning that you have layers. You have your inner layer, which keeps you really nice and warm. You have a secondary layer, and then you have a third layer. I once learned that you should never have more than 3 layers, and that's something I stick to. Like putting on one more warm sweater is probably not going to help. Then you're dressing wrong. For the inside layer, you would either want to use wool or a mix of wool and synthetic. And that's because it's close to you, it gets moist, and wool is really nice at keeping you warm even if you're wet. So this is long overalls, or it's a long sweater type thing, and long johns, and they keep you really nice and warm. There are tons of different variants of these ones. This is where the concept of layering comes in. When you're walking, then you are getting really warm, you're generating a lot of heat, and you would like to have some of that escape you. You would like the moisture to escape you, and you would actually not want to overheat, which is actually an issue even when it's really cold. So, while walking, most of the times, unless it's really cold, and with really cold I mean minus 10 degrees or less. While walking, I usually just have a windproof jacket outside of that. And that windproof jacket, that is breathing. That means that it's letting moisture out and it's not letting wind in. So it's doing everything it should be doing. Whenever I stop, I put on a woolly sweater. This is a NATO style one, but any kind of nice warm woolly sweater would be very nice to have, and have that below the jacket you had. If it is a really cold day, then I actually keep that woolly sweater on while walking. But usually I bring a spare one so that I get rid of all the moisture, all of the sweat, everything like that while sitting down, because it really quickly gets really cold. When it comes to the legs, it's really dependent on the weather. If it's really windy, then I need some windproofing. But for most days that I go for SOTA in winter, it's not. So I keep a normal pair of hiking pants over there. These are rough, they can take a lot of abuse, and they're somewhat waterproof. And they're good for most winter days. If it does happen to be windy, then I'll also use a windproof layer on top of that. These ones are also padded, which means that they're quite warm. So these are something I sometimes bring and take on while I sit on the summit. And that's like the major body parts, your torso and your legs. There are different parts of your body that I haven't covered yet. So, when it comes to your hands, they usually get cold really quickly. And you have to use them for radio activation. You have to be able to write, you have to be able to use your radio to mount your gear. So you need to keep warm. When walking, I usually wear some sort of gloves like this, normal full gloves. I also have windproof ones for really windy days. And these are nice and warm, but they're useless if you want to do anything. Like, these are not for working. So when I'm on the summit and activating, I'm usually using shooter's gloves like these. And these are gloves where the fingers have been cut off, for at least for the 4 digits. And you have a flap here which turns them into a normal mitten, which keeps you really nice and warm if you need to. And these are amazing for working on the summit. You have full access to your radio, you keep mostly warm, and the hand that you're not operating the radio with is really nice and warm inside of these as well. So I highly recommend getting some sort of ones like this. When it comes to your head, you really have to cover it up, and any kind of top hat will do very well for that. And that's because in your head, at least most of us have a brain in there, and that one uses a lot of heat and generates a lot of heat, which gets lost, at least if you have as much hair as I do. For longer hikes or heavy hikes, I usually bring 2 of these ones, and that's because they do collect a lot of sweat. So they get wet, and when you sit down, they get cold. So I'd like to be able to replace them. So the final part here is the feet, and usually I wear some sort of working socks like this. These are a mix of synthetic and wool, which keeps you really nice and warm for most days. But for winter, when you're sitting still, then I also have full woolly socks like these ones. These are hand knit, but any kind of full wool sock would do you really well and keep you nice and warm. Outside the socks again, you have boots, and having a lot of space in the boots is quite important because you need air around you. They of course also need to be waterproof. You get warm and wet while hiking, which can get into the boots, and then you get really cold. So these are just normal hiking boots for me, but any kind will do. Below the boots, to keep you safe, any kind of hiking spikes. These are chain link ones. They are really nice to have while walking on icy terrain, like hiking up a hill or a mountain or something like that. These are lifesavers. They're always with me while I'm out hiking in winter. The final layer that I'm also always bringing for winter activations is a poncho. And I have several of them. You've seen me use them in some other videos before. This one is a non-thermally insulated one. And it is windproof, it's waterproof, and it can keep you warm. It has some thermal reflective materials inside. And it can also work as a sleeping bag. I have one that's thermally insulated as well, but that is really heavy. So I don't bring that unless it gets like minus 10, 15, 20 degrees Celsius. Then that is suitable. This is more for like a normal short winter activation. I hope that was interesting to you, and if you learned something, then very nice. And if not, it's a nice reminder of how to dress in winter, which is very different from summer operations. If you have any comments or feedback or other questions, please feel free to leave them below here, and I'll try to answer them. Until next time, 7-3.